Hello again, you're live on Newsfeed PM. I'm Ayanda Nyati. It's great to see you. Let's hone in on one of those headline stories. Johannesburg's power utility, that City Power, has just held an urgent media briefing on the state of its operational capacity. And this follows heavy downpours that we witnessed earlier on this week, across the province. The electricity utility has fielded numerous complaints over power interruptions. The blackouts have rocked the entire municipal and private services delivery spectrum, including water, traffic, communication, as well as health and sanitation services. Tumaole Mohlaoli is part of our team watching the story. In fact, Tommy, you watched the briefing as it took place, where City Power has essentially tried to help us contextualize and perhaps even capture the scale of the problem that they're facing.
Well, the scale of the problem that they're facing is only exacerbated by the issue of vandalism. This has come out quite strongly during the briefing. And if I could just give you a quick overview of the figures that I'm talking about, City Power says it estimates that it loses on average 2 substations a day to vandalism. Now, this would mean that, of course, cable thieves, the so-called izinyoka, help themselves to this infrastructure, which then leads to the substations either tripping and they have to be replaced. And this is what's hitting the bottom line and delaying the return to the grid in terms of reconnection of services. And City Power has been fielding a lot of calls. They have thanked the customer base for being patient. The issue of the torrents that we've seen has also not helped. It also just exacerbated this particular problem. Now, to get a bit more about this issue of vandalism, I'm going to be joined now by Power Group Executive, Mr. Isaac Rampedi. Mr. Rampedi, on the issue of vandalism, you say, 2 substations on average a day. Mini substations. That seems like quite a lot. And the Roodepoort area seems to be a hotspot. What's going on?
Yeah, Roodepoort is a hotspot. We do not really know actually what is the root cause of those people to behave the way they are behaving. But as it is, it's unsustainable. And hence, we have reviewed our security strategy so that we can be able to deal better with the problem. I think earlier on, the CEO spoke about, decentralizing instead of having a company at corporate level which is trying to look after the whole network. So going forward, we will be partnering with localized armed response companies, which will help us also with the issue of investing on technology on the ground in terms of alarms, armed response. So we are looking for those partnerships and also the community-based organizations, which the community policing forums. We've already put out the advert on our website, and the response is very positive. So going forward, we think we will be able to win, but at the moment, at the rate at which is going on, is unsustainable.
Mini substation, I mean, that seems like a very technical and, it's not a light thing to carry. Are you investigating perhaps the use of insiders, inside jobs, so to speak, with your law enforcement partners?
Yes, we are actually going forward. We will be also looking at the intelligence as well, so that we can be able to get to the bottom of the problem. So we are busy with those partnerships going forward.
How much can your budgets sustain the current status quo? Where do we stand at the moment? Is City Power still able to keep procuring more of these mini substations? And how much is it going to cost in terms of this financial year?
It's quite a lot of money, and because we do not have endless pockets, and also these things are manufactured. I think by last week Friday we were left with only 2 mini subs at our stores, but fortunately we've got long-term contracts that we've established with the suppliers, so we are able to negotiate with them to keep the production going, but it is not sustainable. At the moment, we are just relying on our insurance to be able to keep us going. But also, you would appreciate that at some point, the insurers might see you as an uninsurable person, and it also, do not work in our favor in the market for insurance.
What about your paying customer base? You say that you are putting in systems to respond quicker when people have complaints of power outages, but what about people who have complaints about damage to their own infrastructure due to damage to your infrastructure? What can they do, and what processes are in place to ensure that you keep them happy and keep them as customers?
Yeah, we've got what we call third-party claims. If customers go to our website, they will be able to find the forms. They just need to fill in the forms and go to the nearest service delivery center and then be able to lodge those claims. Obviously, we investigate, and we also submit to our own insurance company so that it can compensate them. So we do have processes in place to compensate customers where they lose their things because of City Power's negligence.
In terms of City Power's ability to provide sustainable, uninterrupted power, where do we stand at this stage in terms of percentages? I know you use percentages to show us your grid in terms of how it's operational. People have been complaining in some areas that they haven't had power for days on end, up to a week. When will this come to an end, and how close are we to that eventuality?
Yeah, we've got a 24-hour commitment to say that it doesn't matter how big or small, we should be able to resolve 98% of in terms of also a standard from NERSA. We need to resolve 98% within 24 hours. So we are trying by all means to stick to the standard, but on weeks like what we are experiencing at the moment, it becomes difficult because majority of the network is on the ground, and then we have to rebuild it from scratch. So, the 24-hour, commitment becomes almost, a challenge. But and as we speak, we appreciate the patience from the customers. In this week, I think we've got a lot of customers who have been without power for 2-3 days. So it's not what we are aspiring to offer. But due to the situation where we are where we are. We initially requested 2 weeks to be able to stabilize out of this crisis. But since Monday up to today, there is a lot of progress. Out of the 8 service delivery centers, we only have Hest Hill and then Rotiport, which are still battling. But others are fairly stable. And going towards this evening, we are hoping to stabilize even more.
No, thank you very much for that. We'll have to leave it there. Of course, that was Power Group Executive Isaac Rampedi painting a picture that out of 8 service centers, it's only Hest Hill and Rotiport. Rotiport seems to be a consistent problematic area, but we have heard just what measures are being taken to try and get a grip on that, and certainly some good news for customers, and also the fact that they can then also make claims to City Power if their own personal infrastructure like electronics have been damaged due to the infrastructure damage that has been incurred by the power utility, both from the elements as well as from the criminal elements. With that, is back to you in the studio.
Tumaole Mohlaoli live to us there from Johannesburg with that update. Tommy, thanks very much indeed.